What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another news show and an opinion show because Chiesa's back in training. 2 days now, 3 days, whatever it is. And rumors or debate or talk is now that he potentially could be staying, not because the club is thrilled, whatever, excited to keep Chiesa, but because options are not that open, or there are not many options for Chiesa and the club to take advantage of right now, and the potential slightly slimmer chance that he could stay is on the table. Now we will talk about that, what it could mean for the player, obviously, what it could mean for Thiago Motta, the club in general, the team also as well, and for him as well, because we got to a point where actually there's no real return from. However, we're sitting here and it could be that it's happening. So before we get into it, as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about Chiesa going beyond 2024. Okay, so like I said, he's back in training. Obviously, the moment he came back in training, you kind of put your money on the fact that the rumors of him potentially staying will be popping up again, and they did basically hours after he was pictured at J Medical for his medical checkup ahead of his first training session. He's training on his own, quote unquote. He's not in training camp. He's training with the fitness people, with the players who were left behind, probably. But the question, and the big question, is that, yes, the reporting has always been that he will decide his future after he got back, and he's back now. However, it was also known for a couple of months or weeks, basically, that despite him making a decision the 20th, it was the Rossi and Roma who were pushing. Now, the news evolved to a point where the same sources were saying, actually, Chiesa doesn't want to join Roma. He wants to take another step. He wants to play Champions League football, and so on and so on. And I can believe that. I think everybody could see that, yeah, that makes sense that he wants that. That makes sense more so than joining Roma, in my opinion. However, between those 2-3 weeks of reporting, let's say 2 weeks, there have been no news reports, like good news reports, not sport media set, putting out made up stories, but like actually half decent, a half decent source saying, you know what, a Newcastle or an Aston Villa or a Man U, I don't know, I'm just making up names, are interested in Federico Chiesa. Nico Shira saying he's hoping for the Premier League, the club still wants to move him on. And Fabiano Del Valle saying that the club will offer him a lower deal, and it will depend on him if he wants to accept yes or no. But there are no rumors about him potentially leaving, which makes some of you believe that, not me, I'm going to tell you my take on it, that he potentially could stay. I don't think he's going to stay. I think the club made their decision. I think Chiesa kind of accepted that decision and is willing to kind of move on with his life, with his footballing career, basically. I don't see a point of return. I really don't. And maybe it's just me, but if you tell a player like Chiesa that he's actually not part of the new project, because that's what it is. You are moving or trying to move out a lot of players. You're trying to bring in a lot of new players. You have a new coach. You have a new management, everything. And you go to a player and you basically tell him you're not really part of this new Juve. I don't see how he and the club can come back together and go again for another season. Because in the back of his mind, or that's how I would be, I will always have the idea, or like the belief of, they don't want me here. Like, they actually don't want me here, but I'm going to play. I need to play for my own career, but I know that actually these guys don't really want me here. So the feeling is not really ideal. Even for Thiago Motta, he's going to use him. If Chiesa stays, he's going to use him, obviously, because we're not going to replace him. So he is going to use Chiesa. That's not really the issue. But even for I think even for Mota, he's not gonna complain about it because he's not left with an absolute scrub of a player. Like, I'm not making out that Chiesa is. If he stays, you're like, oh my god, what the hell is this? But in the back of his mind, I think he is also of the idea of like, actually, I didn't really want you here. I wanted a different profile. So I don't see how that can come together and build a very good season. I can be completely wrong, but knowing how I would be personally, I would go in training with the idea of, man, I need to go train and play for people who, and with people I mean the club, not the fans, who don't want to have me here. They tried to move me out. They actually told me you can leave. Like, it was wildly reported. Like, there's no denials whatsoever of the reporting that they don't want me here. And now I need to play for them. Yes, I need to play for my career, my contract, but it's short term. It feels short term, So I don't like that. I don't like the idea of that. I've said it many times. Or you commit long term and you actually believe that you can work together and build something, or you both move on. Not a 1 year bridge gap. You just move on, both of you. There's no in between for me, and that's just me again personally, because I don't see how you can come back from that. It's taking long. It is taking long. The Roma option is now completely off because they're pushing for Sule. But yeah, like, it's a tricky situation because Giuntoli needs to move him out, or he wants to move him out because he wants to replace him. He needs some money, etc., etc. And Chiesa's like, I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna show up in training. Maybe Roma will pop up again. I want to wait, for the best offer. He's not in a rush, basically. He is a free agent next season. That's also a reason that you cannot go beyond this one. That means you need to extend them. That can go either way. That means he needs to accept a lower wage as well, because even if it's 1 year extension, the club is not going to pay him the money he's on right now for a 1 year extension. So you also need to take that into consideration. It is a very strange setup right now. It's a very strange feeling, in my opinion. It's set up to get a little bit awkward no matter how it goes. If he leaves or if he stays, at the end of the day, it will be awkward, because if he leaves, it will be very late, later than anyone would have hoped, at the club. And if he stays, it will always be awkward. If he plays, if he scores, you will always get the quote-unquote narrative, or the reality of he's shutting down the management. And if he doesn't perform, it's like, this is why the club wanted you out, and you stayed, and everybody's going to blame it. Like, I don't think it's an ideal situation anyway. I think they made their minds up, and now you need to push through. You need to push through, because a 1 year bridge gap, I don't think that's the best idea for anyone, especially for Chiesa and his career. Like, if I were Chiesa, I would not be accepting that. Even though I wanted to stay at the club, a 1 year bridge gap is like, I need to prove myself again. I'm not doing that. So let's see how it will go. Some have a belief that he's going to stay, and with every single each passing day, minute, second of the transfer window, you might be right. But right now, for me, I think he's still going to be moved on at one point during this transfer window. But let me know, will you still keep him despite everything that transparent, or are you like, no, just cut ties and move on with it? It is what it is right now. Let me know in the comments, like the video, subscribe, and I will speak to you guys very soon. Ciao.